So we got some good news. Looks like Tyler Boyd's not going to the Steelers. He's also not going to the Kansas City Chiefs. And it looks like he's not going to the New York Jets. But there are three teams that are now really interested according to sources. Number one, the Miami Dolphins. Now, Miami I don't think is really that bad of an option for him. Again, he's not going to be the number one receiver. He's going to be the number three receiver behind Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Actually, even probably the number four receiver because Braxton Berrios had a really great year last year. So he'll probably be the number four receiver. So he won't get too many receptions. Also, because he is the number four receiver, he probably won't get a big payday, especially not what he wants, which is $8 million a year for 1 year. Probably 1-2 year contract. He wants $8 million a year. He's probably not going to get that with Miami. And in all honesty, being a fourth receiver on a team, chances are that's not going to happen, right? I mean, it's possible. I'm not going to sit here and say that, they can't pay him that much for a fourth receiver. But normally teams do not do that. Like, normally at least. Looking at Miami's, how much, let's see how many cap they have. Where is the Miami Dolphins? Miami. The color scheme always messes me up with this website. Wait, hold up. Let me fix the screen. Sorry, guys. There we go. Miami Dolphins right here. All right. $4.8 million. Yeah. So, I don't know how they would figure that out. They don't have the money, really, to pay him. They're going to have to give him probably a backloaded 2-year contract and push money out. And then he wouldn't even be a starting guy on the roster. He would be a fourth-string receiver. He would have Tua, which is probably, it isn't a bad quarterback to have, especially because Tua isn't known for throwing the ball like 60 yards deep. I know he can, but the biggest claims about him is he doesn't have the biggest arm. If that's the case, then it works out perfectly fine for him because he can just, underneath. So, that's not a bad option. That's the first option. The second team that's interested in him is the 49ers. And obviously, we hate the 49ers, and I hope he doesn't go to the 49ers. But this is probably the best option for him. In all honesty, out of all the options, even though I dislike the 49ers, it's probably the best option. They have $6.7 million, right? Negative 23.8 next year. So they're not going to pay him the most money. But he gets to go to an NFC team, which the NFC obviously is not the, strongest when it comes to the NFL. He also gets a chance to go to the Super Bowl because it's very possible the 49ers are going to go to the Super Bowl again next year, especially with how dominant they are right now. If we go to teams, he is going to be potentially, depending on what happens with Brandon Ayuk and what happens with Deebo Samuel, he'll be either third or fourth wide receiver on his team, probably the third. I think he'll probably take over for Juwan Jennings. Third wide receiver on his team, not bad at all. Again, he's not going to get a big payday. He's not getting paid what he wants. So that's going to be a, not the best situation. And he does have Brock Purdy throwing him the ball, which I think between Brock Purdy or Josh Dobbs, one of the two, or Tua, yeah, I think Brock Purdy probably is a little bit better than Tua when it comes to throwing him the football. He's on a team that's very competitive. It's going to be a Super Bowl team. So if he wants a ring chase, this is probably his best chance to ring chase, even though the last time the 49ers won the Super Bowl, the Cowboys were in it. Just a little side note there. And the 49ers, they haven't won a Super Bowl in a very, very long time. Been to Super Bowls, but they haven't won Super Bowls. And then the last team that's interested is the Detroit Lions. And the team that just took DJ Reader from us could potentially get Tyler Boyd from us. So, looking at Detroit's salary cap hit, they have $26.6 million. This is the best location for him money-wise. I think Detroit can easily, I think they could win the division, even though the Packers are getting a lot better, but I think they can win the division. I think they can go to the playoffs and potentially go to Super Bowl. I think the best chance for him to go win a Super Bowl and get a ring would be the 49ers. I think the best chance for him to potentially, get the most money is going to be Detroit Lions. The best chance for him to get the most stats and yards is probably the Miami Dolphins. Because I think he could probably take over Braxton Berrios? Braxton Berrios. He could probably take over his spot, right? So I think he could. Tyler Boyd, he's older, but he's still good. He still has a lot left in him. So Detroit would be the best place for, again, money-wise, to get his 1 year, 2 year, $8 million a year contract. And I could see them paying him that much money. There's really no one else on this roster, Detroit-wise, that they're overpaying at the wide receiver position. And when you look at the receivers, Jameson Williams, not really the greatest option of all time. I think last year he had a good year. I know a lot of people call him a bust. He can't catch cold. But I think he's pretty okay. Khalif Raymond, really underrated. Amazing underrated receiver. But I think Tyler Boyd could take over for him. The problem is that Amon St. Brown is a slot receiver. And Tyler Boyd is a slot receiver. He's not an outside receiver. He's not anything like that. So he would have to take over the slot, and that would be Amon St. Brown's. The Sun God, that would be his spot. So that's the only problem with Detroit, but I think he could get, plenty of, work around here. And again, like I said, he'll get the most money here. So I think it really comes down to what Tyler Boyd wants to do here. Do you want a ring chase and go with the 49ers, who haven't won a Super Bowl since the Cowboys have been in it? But, again, best chance to win the Super Bowl, probably there. Detroit is the second best chance to win the Super Bowl, and you're going to get the most money going to Detroit, period. Or do you want to go to the Miami Dolphins, and you're probably not going to win the Super Bowl in any way, but, you're probably going to have the most yards. I feel like Miami's going to have the most yards. They have the most, in my opinion, prolific offense of the three. I think Detroit's really good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to downplay the 49ers of Detroit. But, again, like I said, I think they're going to be throwing for the most yards in Miami. So, he has three different options here. I will say where I want him to go is Detroit. I don't want him to be in the AFC. I don't want him to play us in the playoffs, and he has a career day against us. I hate the 49ers. I do not want him to go to San Francisco. No way in heck. And then, again, like I said, I don't really care if he goes to Detroit. I know Detroit just took DJ Reader from us, but I have no problem with Detroit. I like Detroit. Detroit's a good team. They're overall just great. I really do like them. Not a fan, obviously I'm a fan of the Bengals, but they're a good team, and Dan Campbell is also Dan Campbell, man. Come on, man. You can't hate Dan Campbell. But, guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys next one. Peace out.